Hello everyone, this is Dr. Lex. Today I have this interesting little lock from an office drawer cabinet of which the key got lost. When turning the core, an actuator extends which engages a cam and shaft system that raises a set of pins which fit in the bottom of the drawers such that they cannot be opened. How this actuator works can be seen if we take the lock apart, but the only way to do that is to turn it counterclockwise from its current open to closed position. And of course without a key, the only way to do this is by picking it, so let's get started. As you can see, this has a somewhat paracentric keyway, quite similar to the one on the little yellow lock from the previous video. To be prepared for possible guardian pins, I'll use the same DeForest diamond in 15,000s as I used for that lock. This lock was mounted horizontally like this in the cabinet, so for the sake of realism I will also pick it in this position. The shape of the keyway makes top of the keyway tension totally impossible, so I'll use bottom instead with a 50,000s pry bar. Let's go. One is binding. Nice click out of one. Two is binding. Also click out of it. I think it must be set. 3 is not binding. 4 is binding. Take care not to get caught on the warding. Gonna click out of 4. I think 5 is not binding. So 1 is set, 2 is set. Now 3 is binding. Got to click out of it, I think. Yeah. It wasn't very convincing, but I think it should be set. So now 5 is binding. Yeah, and I already got it open. That wasn't too difficult, but it's still way better than your typical cabinet wafer lock that can be raked open with a paper clip and a screwdriver. Been there, done that. I didn't feel any security pins in there, but still it has taken me quite a while before I got to know how to tackle this lock due to the quite good build quality. Let's see what's inside. First zoom out so you can see what's happening. First I need to turn the core almost to the fully closed position. Not entirely, otherwise the pins will re-engage and I would need to pick it again to be able to slide out the core. Due to lack of a key in the keyway, I need to shove a Z-bar in there, like this, in order to rotate it past here, otherwise the driver pins will jump into the bottom of the keyway and it will be jammed. So I turn it almost all the way, but not entirely. The risk is still quite high that I will at some point turn it too far anyway. And now I need to push out this little pin to remove the actuator. Normally this pin is a steel pin, but I cheated a bit to speed up this video. I replaced the steel pin with a piece of toothpick. Still need to turn it a little because this piece of toothpick is much easier to remove. It doesn't involve hammering like the steel pin. There we go. So here's my piece of toothpick and the actuator fell out. And now, I don't know if you can see it, but the core is secured with a little Phillips screw. So let's remove that. Now we can take out the core. Maybe I should zoom in again a little. As you can see, the actuator moves thanks to the pin I just removed, sliding in this spiral groove when the core turns. The machining on these parts is very nice and tight. Now I need to remove this little annoying clip that keeps both the core secured as attaching this spiral actuator to the core. Okay, I've just rotated it back, so I need to pick it again. This was quite inevitable that this would happen. Or maybe I should first remove the clip and the actuator, it will make things easier. Now this is a total bitch to remove, and I think this modified pliers is the best tool for the job. Maybe you might recognize those pliers. Alright, I have it. They came from this Hug lockpick set, which I ordered from UK Bumkeys after viewing the lockpicking lawyer's review of it, and it's an excellent set. It also contained these pliers, but I modified it slightly by filing off the tips so I can use it also as a clip remover. But now we need to pick it again in order to be able to slide out the core. I figured there's no problem with cutting bits out of the previous part of the video, because since I'll be picking this again anyway, I won't be violating my principle of no cuts between picking and gutting if I just don't cut between now and until the parts are on the tray. Let's do this again. It should be similar, although there might be some differences now that the core is no longer attached with the clip, so it might be more sloppy. Maybe the binding order will be different, but anyway, one is again the first binder. And 2 the second. I think I'm almost there. I need to set 5 now. There we go. So now let's try not to mess it up again. Let's remove the vise and maybe zoom out a bit. And now I'll be using yet another 3D printed core, and I have to take care to avoid that the driver pins will jump up in this gap next between the keyway. As you can tell, I practice a bit. I already practiced taking this thing apart and I've messed up a lot, so I try not to do it this time. And of course avoid the key pins fall out. I'm slowly learning. And there we go. So that's the core. It's very nicely machined. This whole lock is very nicely manufactured. That's one thing I have to say. So I'll leave this part here, and now let's get a better view of the tray, and let's dump out these key pins. So that's the first one, looks pretty standard. I'll give you a close-up in a while. Second is also standard, and I'm pretty sure they're all standard, because I didn't feel anything unusual while picking it. And that's 5. So nothing special about the core. Focusing isn't optimal yet. Still have to figure out how to get the best focusing from this camera. Let's arrange the pins and then try to remove the driver pins without making them fly across the room. How hard can it be? Come on. No, it's really... This clearly isn't the best focusing mode. You might recognize these tweezers. They also come from this lock disassembly kit, but I've modified them so the ends are more suitable to grab key pins, and this makes a big difference. But still, there's a huge risk that I'll mess things up and make things fly across the room. So that's the first driver pin, nothing special about it. Second driver pin, they are not the same length, so there is some attempt at balancing the driver pins. Third is also standard and also a bit shorter because the third key pin is longer. And since 4 is the longest key pin, 5 is 4, the fourth driver pin is also the shortest. Oh, almost messed it up, but at least it didn't fall on the floor. So that's all the pins. Let's dump out the springs as well. Might be a bit sticky because I did apply some oil to this core. So let's give you a close-up. Maybe arrange the springs as well. But all the springs are the same. Nothing unusual about them. Let's see, let's improve the lighting and also try to focus. There you go, that's the contents of this drawer cabinet lock. Pretty decent bitting with a high 4th pin followed by a low 5. I have to say, overall this looks very nicely machined with very tight tolerances. I think this lock is rather old and it probably predates the time where everything is outsourced to China. It's probably made somewhere in Europe, no idea where, because there's absolutely no brand on this whole thing. The only thing I find is here on this body there's a kind of boomerang shaped logo, if you can see it. And I have no idea where it comes from. If anyone knows, leave a comment. And this of course is the steel pin which I replaced with a piece of toothpick to speed up the disassembly process. I might try to make a key for this lock so I can put it back in the drawer and use this to protect my cookies against hungry colleagues. Otherwise it will just be yet another pretty nice practice lock. So that's all. See you next time and have a nice day.